friends. Since we did a couple of videos a while back working on the brakes of Marlene's Saturn in her high-level stoplight in the back seat, I've gotten a lot of questions about the car lift here that I use in the garage. So I thought we'd go over a few basics and a few improvements I've made to it and talk about it a little bit. This little baby is 23 years old. Had it here in the garage for 23 years. Came from a company called Stinger Inc., Stinger Incorporated in McPherson, Kansas. It's got its own hydraulic pump, hydraulic cylinder for the lift. It lifts on cables. I'll show you the details of this as we go along. I've been very pleased with it, very pleased with it. A wonderful machine. Helps me do my various jobs around here, oil changing, big help in changing oil, working on wheels and brakes and that kind of thing is just a natural. And we like to put our lawnmowers on there and raise them up and work on the deck underneath to clean them off after they get loaded with gunk and crud. And Marlene mows when it's too wet out there. I'm going to take the camera here on a little walk around and show you some of the details and how she works. And we'll go from there. Here's a shot from the rear of the hoist. Now you'll notice that we have a 16-foot ceiling in this garage, double garage, and it's 24 or 26 feet end to end. I'm not sure, I don't remember which, but it's longer than most. And it works just great for all the cars. Can't get the truck up there, of course, but it works fine for the fleet of automobiles we've got around here. Right now the 56 Thunderbird is sitting on the perch. I want to put disc brakes on her when the weather cools off a little bit here. I was going to do it springtime, but I had a little trouble with the supplier that I was dealing with, so like Donald Trump, I backed out of the deal and decided I'd work with someone else or make the deal that work to my advantage a little more than that one was. So here's the rear end of the post. It's got these ramps, which are pretty cool. Show them to you here. I just slide them up there when I'm finished. They mount in these brackets and you can drive right up there. I usually just stick them in there, up there on behind the car, so it serves as a block also when the car's up there. Can't roll backward even though it's in park. The brakes are on, the manual brakes. But if you leave them sticking out, and I did that for a while, and after banging my head on them a few times, I decided that wasn't too good a patent. So I shovel them up on the ramps or on the runners now. And you'll notice that underneath there are some homemade floor sections. There are 3 floor sections there that I painted gray that fill in the inside of the tracks. That way I can drive my tractors on there sideways. And if I want to, I can lift them out individually. There's 3 of them. So I can work underneath there to work on the cars too. Works out pretty well for me. I built those for about 1/3 of the cost, I guess, of what they wanted for the metal ones that they put in there. And I think those are stronger, better deals, easier to handle too at the same time. We've got this lip along each side of the tracks that they rest on, and they'll slide easily back and forth on there when I take one out. Right now I've got them all in. I'll take a look at the construction a bit here. You see that these are the locks. 4 locks, 1 on each post. This is called a 4-post lift. And these locks will spread out here. I'll show you when we run it a little later how they work. But then they rest on these blocks. You got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 blocks here. So there are seven different heights for the lift. So down in here you can be working on tires and on the rocker panels of the car if you're doing detailing work, like on the Corvette. And Marlene added the Dick's Garage to this post one time as a surprise. And that's the same on all 4 of the posts. You can see that I always go around when I park it there and I check all of the locks to make sure they're fitted securely. And those will flip down with the lever at the other end. We'll show you that too when we operate it. And each of the four corners is held up with an adjustable cable. That cable's not going to break. That'll probably hold 20,000, 30,000 pounds. And if you look under the main, where the cylinder is here, you can see how the cables are strung all the way along to each one of the four corners. This is the lock rod for releasing the locks. And building it was not too bad a job. Me and two of my compadres built it. Tommy Bonnets and Davey Hamilton. A big old truck delivered it. And we took the pieces apart, put her together in probably half a day. A couple of the changes I made here just this week is I went ahead and I sunk some anchors down there in the base, if you can see that. And I bolted those stands to the floor. Once in a while, when I drive in here with a car I'd hit the brakes or something on the way up and it'd slide this thing ahead or a little bit, then I'd have to slide it back. This way it's not going to do that anymore. Now those don't really hold much, but they're going to keep it from sliding around sideways or forward. There's not a lot of pressure on them. It just sort of holds them in place. And up here I did have there's wear on these blocks on the inside where it slides up and down inside the channel. So I decided to put these brackets in. I just did that. Put a bracket on each end. I didn't want to drill holes in the post, so I used existing bolts that hold the end caps on right up here. And ran these brackets over this really solid shelving that I've got over here. One on the rear, one on the front. We'll go around there and take a look at that one. But it doesn't wiggle a millimeter now. It's pretty tight. There's the other front one. We got our tread is long enough here that there's not much wobble on the thing this way, this direction, hardly any at all. So I didn't do anything with those. These posts are nice and straight and square, and it just takes the other two posts with it when it goes. When it does something up or down. The locks on this post, and a lock on this post, and here's a lever that works the locks. And another change I made is I built those blocks, wooden blocks. Those pins that are sticking out are for the casters. I've got 4 casters for this, so I can put the casters on there, lower the deck, and that'll bring those posts up off the ground. I'd have to unbolt them first now, of course. Bring them up off the ground, then I can move the thing anywhere I want. One guy. That's very easy to do. But this hose, a couple times on me, got stuck down here when it was at the lowest. The platform was down on the base, down the floor. This hose got wrapped underneath there, and I didn't catch it coming up, and it bent the hell out of my hard line here and stretched the hose something fierce. So I went down last week and I had my friends at A&L Hydraulics make me a new hard line and a new hose. So I installed those. So that's like new. Here's the pump, 110 volt pump. Doesn't raise it real fast, but it does the job, and it's a lot easier than pumping it with a hand crank. And this is the release valve, so this will let it come down when we're ready to let it come down. As you can see, the old T-bird just fits up there really nice. Gives me plenty of room to get under there if I pull those floors out. I know it's kind of dark here, but I pull these floorboards out, I can get under there and do anything I want to do to this baby from down below. And of course not worry about anything going wrong with this lift there, sitting on the locks and tied down to the shelving over there, which are really the walls. Like it is, it's not going to go anywhere. I think it saved me out of countless hours of messing around with jacks and laying on creepers and crawlers underneath these cars. I'm not young whippersnapper anymore. I can't do those things. So that's, if you have any questions, give me a shout. But that's pretty much what there is of it. Now we'll operate a little bit, show you how it operates. First thing we have to do is take it up a bit to take the pressure off the locks. And we'll push our up button. Get it high enough to clear the locks. Then we pull the lock lever down. And that releases the locks. And we can very slowly lower it. Making sure we keep our locks clear. We'll get below the last lock. If I were going to drive the car off now, I'll still up a little ways. I'd go back and put those ramps in place because it's easier here than it is to bend over and try to pick them up. But we're not going to take the car off, so we'll just go ahead and lower it. I don't have to hold the locks anymore because I passed the last lock position. Now we have the car down. We could drive it off, drive another car on if we were so inclined. And, that's about all there is to that. Very handy. Very handy. I love my car lift. I don't know what I'd have done these last 23 years without it. Especially as I've gotten older and fatter. Now we're going to take it back up. You get a sense for the speed. It's not the fastest in the world, but it does it. And the only thing you have to use here is your thumb and then hold the locks down. So it's not too tough on a person. You don't have to be in great physical shape to do this, fortunately. Here we go. We passed the first lock. Before I work on it, I always get past at least one of the locks here, so that if something does break and it falls down, it'll catch on the lock. It's going to go about 6 inches or so. I'm not too worried about that ever happening, but there is a difference between this and some of the newer hoists. And that some of the newer hoists, inside the workings by the cylinder, has got a release valve there to let it down slowly if you lose pressure in case this pipe hose would burst or something like that, which I don't think it's going to with brand new hose on it now, especially. I'll show you the lock positions now. Well, we've got it. This is a position I put it in to put the ramps on and off. It's much easier to get them on when it's at this height than it is if it's way up or way down. You can see that I've got the locks just a little bit above the first stop there, so if it does fall, those locks will grab it. And we have 6 more locks to go up, 7 total. And right here, this is just at the right length, height to slide these ramps into place, which we're not going to do right now. There you've got a picture of this lock. They're all synced and in at the same place. You do that by tightening and loosening these screws on the cables. Each leg is independent. So when you're setting the lift up, you make sure they're all in the same place. So all the locks work at the same time in unison, which is what you want. Now, if you're going to work on something here, you don't leave it with the tension on the cylinder like this. Cables in the cylinders. That baby's pretty tight. Like a piano string, it's probably a low G. Right there. So tune it up a bit, I could probably get it up to A. But that's not the point. It's not for making music. But you don't really want to leave it there because you got stress on the cylinder. You don't want those seals to have any more pressure on them and any more than they have to, and for as brief a time as you can manage, because you want them to last a long time. You don't want them blowing out. I've had to have that cylinder, have the seals replaced in that cylinder twice, and I think some of that was because of a malfunction early on, and the other one is because the original guys who fixed it didn't really do it correctly. That was down at a heavy equipment place, Nebraska Machinery or something. So I went and online, I found another supplier for my hydraulic business. They did the cylinder last time, and they also did A&L Hydraulics, did the hose and the hard line for me. Now we'll take her on up. Hold our locks down, out of position. All right, we've cleared the lock. We'll let her settle down on the lock. Takes the pressure off the cylinder, off the cables. We got no movement at all. Nothing in there that's flaky. It's just about as solid as she can be. Now when I do this, I settle it in. I always go around and I double check the lock before I go under it to make sure they're secure. There's 2. Too hot. There's 3. There's 4. Cost this thing back in 1995 was about $3,000, I think. Another couple $100, I don't remember for sure, for the dollies. The casters you can put on there to move it, $250 I think it was. And I've only used them a few times. Don't really need them. Just the deal. Here, let's see, is there anything else you need to know about this thing? Except that it's very, very handy. And I love it. I've got a lot of tools that I love, but this is probably number 1 in my heart. Number 1 in my heart. When I'm gone, if I could afford a plot big enough, I'd like to have this thing buried with me. To helps cars. And I'd be quite happy if there was going up to heaven with Jesus and God in my four-post lift. I'd be very happy. If I went the other way, I'd be almost just as happy. I don't know if the devil's letting me in. There you have it. Stinger lift. My first in Kansas. The Thunderbird by Ford. Back around 1956. Probably cost about $2,800. Run that up to 30,000 now. About what a driver like that is worth. It's not a show car by a long ways. It's what we call a driver. I kind of mildly hopped up the engine, but I keep the original parts too. So someday when somebody else takes possession of it, they can put it back the way they want, or just leave it as a hot rod. Dual point Mallory ignition, 4-barrel Berry Grant carburetor, and a Mummert 4-barrel 57 type manifold. Alternator, replaced the old generator circuit. Yep, it makes a pretty good hot rod. Okay, that's all you want to know about that, probably, and then some. Let's get this on YouTube.